This is Jamak from ITD Canada, a college in downtown Vancouver. Today I'm here with Dr. Aaraon. He is the inventor of a new ESL system, English as a Second Language system, that I've personally seen be very effective here on campus. I've witnessed many cases of students that have come here with very minimal English, and in a span of 2-3 months there's a huge difference. And I'm a bilingual as well. I had to come here and learn English as a second language. I was much younger when I went through this, but I see a lot of other people that have these challenges, and for some reason it doesn't seem to go away. They take classes, they watch TV, they do everything that they're told to do, but nothing seems to work. So I wanted to sit down with Dr. Aaraon today and kind of pick his mind and ask him some critical questions and see if we can figure out what it is that he does that causes these students to move so fast through at least the initial stages that I've witnessed. They go from a place where they can't answer simple questions in an interview kind of scenario to where they're very comfortable answering questions, going out shopping, doing their routine day-to-day activities. And then I know that they go beyond that to prepare and be able to actually go into classroom, take TOEFL or IELTS or whatever it may be. So I'm going to stop talking. If you want to kind of introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background about where you come from, why you decided to do this. I'd appreciate that. And then
thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much, Jamak, for having me here, and also I'm happy having this video with you guys and sharing some kind of thing that I know about the science of language, and also something about some tricks about improving our English knowledge, and some ways to tackle the difficulties of learning a new language specifically. Well, to tell a bit about myself, first of all, I have been learning English as a student, maybe sooner than learning Farsi, and after that, little by little, I improve it, and then after graduation from a bachelor degree in civil engineering, I was really enthusiastic about learning English, and in the time of being a college student, I've been translating different books in that time, and at the same time taught different students from different backgrounds and level of English, and little by little I came up with a kind of method of English teaching, and I didn't have any kind of knowledge of English in that time. And it was just by chance and trial and error to come to some kind of methods of English teaching. In some classes for example, started by focusing much more on some specific skills, like for example listening, like for example speaking, like for example the mixture of listening and speaking class, or sometimes focusing on just reading and speaking class with different kind of syllabuses, and also or let's say syllabi and techniques of English teaching. Then I thought that I got a kind of potential in this field, and it's the time to let's say be much more knowledgeable in this field of
you decided to take it from a hobby and become a professional.
Right, yeah, exactly. Then I put civil engineering aside. I said that engineering is not my cup of tea. It's not the thing that I cut out for.
Yeah.
So I went for English.
Okay.
Then I continued my education in master's degree in teaching of English to the student to TESOL, and then in PhD degree from Collins University of United States. And after that, I moved to Canada. I've been living here for more than I think it's kind of 6 years or so. And also I got 3 different, let's say, institutions and branches of English teaching. Schools of English in my country, my homeland, my country, Iran. proudly. And then I've got, those schools at the moment there. Every year, something about 1,200 students be graduated from there by the system that I innovated. So after being educated in English teaching, I understood that there are tons of things that I can do for students, and there are some specific techniques and method of English teaching that I need to, let's say, experience and examine. The system that I innovated is called Crosscut, as it comes from its name. It's a kind of fast way of learning English for the student of a second language, for the student of other language. English is the second language for them. And it has got different kind of, let's say, I don't want to go so specific and so technical, but I can say that learning English is it has got 11 different differences with the other communicative method of English teaching. The thing which is really important in this method is this, that the verbal intelligence of the student is really important. The ability of speaking in their own language, in their mother tongue language, is really important. It is something proven, and it dates back to so many years ago by Gardner, the kind of theory of multiple intelligence. And he said that verbal intelligence or linguistic intelligence is something really important, that if you are able to speak in your mother tongue fluently, potentially you would be able to speak in other languages. So it is really important. And I use this technique and this method in the placement test, and I see the students verbal intelligence at the beginning of taking the placement test. Are they able to have a kind of normal way of communication in their own mother language or no? So potentially they would be able in English. If they are not, I would do some other type of things. The teaching would be a bit different. And this is one of those 11 differences. It takes time. I think it is out of the patience.
I really don't want you to go into the details. I'm curious, so basically you started teaching languages, teaching English specifically before your graduate degrees, which means you've taught English now for how many years approximately? 16 years. And you have multiple schools. Here you're the head of the English language department at ITD, and you own colleges in other parts, in Iran, for example. You must have come across thousands of students.
Every month, 1,200 students graduated.
That's a lot of experience, right?
And samples.
Exactly, and test samples where you improve. If I were to ask you, what is the predominant problem that a student of English language has, what would you say it is?
Well, first thing first is their age.
Their age, okay.
It is the biggest, let's say, dilemma or problem that they are facing with.
Meaning the older they get, the more...
it is much more difficult to learn second language. We got a kind of certain age that after that, the verbal intelligence of the student is fixed, and there wouldn't be any kind of improvement.
So their flexibility goes away, right?
So it's going to be rigid after that age. And
what age is that?
Differs from person to person.
What's the range?
Mostly it would be after 18 to maybe 25. The range would be in this.
So that's the threshold, between 18 to 25, in your experience.
It means that before this age, the student can learn a language the same as his mother tongue.
Right.
But after that age, all the time he needs to compare.
Right.
All the time they have got a kind of pattern of speaking known as mother tongue that all the time wants to say, what's the meaning of that word?
So they keep referring back to their mother tongue, and they just do that comparison, right?
The mother tongue all the time says, what the meaning of that word is.
It's very interesting you say that. When I recall my own experience of learning languages, learning English, I was under 18. But I remember very specifically that one day I got up and I went in front of the mirror in the morning, and I remember specifically thinking in English, and I knew at that point in time that something is shifted.
Exactly.
I'm no longer worried about. So when you say that comparison element, it's very vivid for me. I remember experiencing that myself.
This kind of experience is something tangible for those people that have been learned another language. All the time, I don't want to say that native teachers are, I don't know, the teachers that they cannot teach English. It is something, let's say, absurd and wrong to say. But because they haven't experienced learning another language, they cannot convey it. They cannot teach it to another person.
If they only know one language, they've never experienced other things. That's very true.
Not exactly mother. Maybe their mother tongue is English and experience Spanish. Experience another language as a second language. There would be a good teacher.
So going back to what you said. So you said age is the predominant factor. So your solution, Crosscut, is that effective for someone who is 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, or does it become less effective as age goes up?
Well, in fact, in Crosscut, age is something really important because verbal intelligence is something that we examine that at the beginning of the placement test, and if the verbal intelligence of a person is not at that much in a rate to learn as the other students, we change the class. The syllabus of that student is somehow different than the other members of the class. This is something that the teacher should know that. You know, the TTC of our teachers in our system is way difficult and let's say comprehensive than the other methods, because the teacher should be really a kind of psychologist. And be a really class manager. So
it's not a cookie cutter system.
No.
You do your investigation, you do your assessment of every single individual, and you come up with a specific learning strategy for that individual.
Definitely.
Okay, that in itself is a gem, because usually when you go to class, you enroll in the class and you're just among everybody else that's sitting there. There is no distinction.
This is the problem, Another type of difference is this, that we don't have any fail or pass, I mean, old system or traditional system of English, that if the student is not qualified enough, failed and sat beside another student that is brand new student and wants to try that, I mean, level for the first time. These two students are not equal.
Okay.
Because of the system and because of, I mean, maybe the lack of students, they couldn't, put those students in another classes. But it is not something that is done in, Crosscut method. The student never gonna be failed.
So you compare the student to themselves.
We don't let the student, to score the student in final exam. From the day first, the student going to be assessed and will exactly score the student and have a kind of psychological, let's say, meeting with each other. You have to do that, don't do that. You have to, I don't know, study in this way. This is the correct way of, reading and studying and listening. It has got different kind of procedure.
So you encourage them, you work with them individually again to get them to move forward. Okay, this video is already over 10 minutes. Attention spans are low usually. So I'm going to end this here. My message is that the good news right now, I promise you, I will bring Dr. Aaraon back in another sitting and we'll discuss the details a little bit more. But at this point, the good news is if you're watching this and you have a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, someone who thinks, I'm too old to learn English now, I'm just the way I am now, I've tried it, I've gone to this class and that class, it's failed. My suggestion is give Crosscut a try. What do you got to lose? Come in, allow the team here to do your assessment, to do your relatives assessment, because if you're watching this video, you're probably not an ESL student. Allow your relative, your friend, to go through the assessment. Let us come up with that specific learning strategy for them. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. What do you got to lose, right?
Sure. All right. Thank you very much. I think we got too many things to say in future.
We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Have fun.